Halloween. Okay, I'm getting to this one a little late, and I'm doing this for a lot of reasons, partly because of other projects I'm working on, but as far as the movie channel goes, if we're being entirely honest, I couldn't really find anything that really warranted talking about. I mean, I wanted to do a scary movie since it's Halloween week, and Pluto TV does have a pretty good horror section, but I wasn't really finding anything that was grabbing my attention until I found the moose head over the mantle. Because let's be honest, there is nothing scarier than a room with a moose. And no, I'm not pulling up that Invader Zim clip because I don't believe in reference humor. Reference humor is lazy. Fine, it's because Converto.io is giving me shit right now. I don't know, I guess it's not compatible with Firefox. I'll be honest with you, it's definitely an interesting premise that caught my attention based entirely on the description. I didn't know if it was actually going to be scary or interesting or good or bad or anything until I actually watched it, but the idea alone really just kind of caught my attention. Basically, 100 years of family corruption and horror, all told from the perspective of, well, the moose head over the mantle. Okay, because, you know, when I think of perspectives of things that actually matter, you know, I always wonder what that moose head over the mantle is thinking right now as all this is going on. You don't? It's an interesting idea. Unfortunately, it's immediately undercut the moment that I encountered my old nemesis, the bane of my existence, the biggest peeve of all of my pet peeves in movies, non-sequential storytelling. I don't care what anyone says. You are not deep, you are not smart, you are not an artist. Non-sequential storytelling is the mark of a pretentious douche. Stop it. And before you go all, oh, but Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, I'm just going to stop you right there, and I'm going to point out that I'm the guy who has the opinion that Quentin Tarantino is one of, if not the most overrated people in Hollywood right now. Especially right now that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood movie is out. But I've already talked about that movie. You can go down there and you can watch it, or whatever. I don't know, if I remember, I'll put a link in the description, but let's get back on topic. The moose head over the mantle is non-sequential storytelling at its average. I wouldn't say best, because there is no such thing as good non-sequential storytelling. It isn't really the worst I've seen either, because it almost feels like it's coherent. Almost. You know, it's a real shame that they had to introduce the non-sequential storytelling in here, because I feel like if they had just told the story in order, like a normal person, then this would actually have been a pretty good movie. It would have actually had a nice flow. It definitely had a good atmosphere in terms of, like, the story they're trying to convey. There's virtually no background music, save for, like, dramatic stings and maybe towards the very end of the movie when the shit hits the fan. But, you know, it's like, it's a really good idea, it's a really good atmosphere. I thought it was probably one of the better executed movies, all things considered, but the non-sequential storytelling just really, really ruined it for me. Now, when I talk about non-sequential storytelling, I don't mean flashbacks, because, you know, I've seen some movies that depend pretty heavily on flashbacks, and those are fine by my book, because flashbacks at least flashbacks have a framing device to kind of ease you into the idea that we're going to depart the current narrative so that we can backtrack a little and explain this. Whereas non-sequential storytelling just starts at the ending and then throws you into the beginning. No reason why, just right in the beginning. And then you get thrown right into the middle, but then you get thrown right back to the beginning. Then you're thrown to the ending, then you're thrown back to the beginning, and then at the very end of the movie, you're in the middle. No. That doesn't make sense to me. I don't like non-sequential storytelling, and that's basically what ruined my enjoyment of this movie in the long run, because with everything just bouncing around like that, it was impossible to keep 90% of the characters straight. The fact that I was even able to eventually figure out what was going on is really a testament to how well the movie was made, despite the non-sequential storytelling, because you know, if I talk about this movie any further, I'm probably just going to turn it into a rant, so suffice to say, good effort, but unfortunately I can't give this movie very high praise. If you like non-sequential storytelling, then you can probably afford to give it an extra hat on top of my score, but for me personally, it's such a big pet peeve that it ruins the movie entirely. 1 hat out of 4. And that's going to do it not only for this week's edition of It Came From Pluto TV, but pretty much for me for a while, actually. I am going to be taking the next couple of months off. I'm going to be trying NaNoWriMo this November, and I feel like I need to focus all my energy on that. I've done NaNoWriMo before, and trust me, I know what I'm doing. I need all the energy I can, I need all the focus I can, and something like this, as much as I love doing this show, it's going to be a bit of a distraction from my NaNoWriMo project, so you'll understand if I go dark for a couple months and do that. And when December gets around, I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to come to December either, because that's when my job gets especially hectic and especially time-consuming. And I don't really need to bring work home or anything like that, but at the same time, the schedule is going to be insane. I'm not going to have much in the way of free time like I do now, so I'm not going to be able to do the series now. It's probably going to be January before I can actually start doing this again. And for January, not that I'm making any promises, but I do at least plan on making possibly a movies I liked and movies I hated from 2019 list, make them separate videos entirely. And that's an idea I have. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but it's something I would at least like to try, and I will be sure to post those in January when I get the opportunity if I decide to go through with that. In the meantime, I would like to thank everybody who has subscribed. I would like to thank everybody who has clicked the like button and, hell, even the dislike button. At least you felt motivated to tell me you didn't like it. I mean, it's something, right? It's attention. And, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't thank the commenters who took time out of their schedule to correct me on a few issues and be polite about it. For example, it turns out I actually forgot entirely about the Addams Family video game for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, as well as Fester's Quest, although I still argue that Fester's Quest is a ROM hack. You know what, I'm already ranting as it is. I'm just gonna stretch. I'm gonna thank everybody who tuned in. I'll see y'all in January.